All right, we're on live here. Awesome. Want to say thank you to my guest here, Lud, and welcome everyone on on my channel on YouTube, Facebook, and for any friends or clients that are jumping on from her channel that will watch this later as well. Thank you, Lud, for jumping on here. And let me just go ahead and oh, can you hear that echo? Sorry.
No, I don't really hear an echo.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I don't hear an echo. Not on my end, I don't.
That's weird.
Oh, now I hear it a little bit.
You do?
Sometimes it's the background, I think. When you have a background, it makes an echo. I'm not sure. I'm not the best.
Perfect. I think I took care of it. So sorry about that,
Nice.
everyone.
Nicely done. Nicely
Thank-
done.
just again, thank you, Lou, for jumping on here. I'm very excited. It was really great meeting. So I met Lou at a real estate event, agents helping agents through Annabelle, and found out that she's a San Diegan. And I used to live in San Diego, so that's really cool that we lived in the same place, and she still lives in San Diego. And she has this amazing background. She's a board certified physical therapist, which is amazing. Congratulations. That specialize, in exercise and yoga, and now what she's doing is she's looking to help many veterans, and that's why we're here today to collaborate and share with any veterans that need help with their VA disability. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started. So we're getting started early, so let me go ahead and start sharing. Would you like to say anything to, before we get started?
No, are we live? Because I'm not very good at these things. So are we
Yeah.
live now?
Yes, we are live. We
So
are.
we are live. Well, thank you, Ben. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so glad you made this proposition to do this collaborations together. I'm very thankful to you for that. So very excited to be here, and thank you for the bio. I think you did great. So so I am a licensed physical therapist. I own a physical therapy practice in Mira Mesa for many years, and then expanded to Sorrento Valley area. So that's my background. And my specialty within the physical therapy realm was chronic pain management.
Oh,
And that's how the whole veterans work comes into play, just working with veterans and their families, managing injuries due to service and pain most of the time. And I fell in love with the veterans community. And now I'm doing something else on a bigger scale to help them get their claims service connected. So, yeah.
awesome. Well, let's get right at in it. So, can you explain what a so you're going to talk about Nexus Letter. Can you explain what Nexus Letter is and why it's so crucial for a VA disability claim?
Okay, so first, allow me to talk a little bit about the company
Sure.
that I currently manage. It's called Sunnyside Veterans Consulting. Sunnyside because we are in sunny San Diego. And
Right.
and the company basically focus on helping veterans with their VA disability claim on a very specific way, and that is creating what's called a Nexus letter. Okay, and I'll get into details with what a Nexus letter is. Okay, so Nexus, by definition, means link. Okay, to link something to something. That's what Nexus means. Therefore, a Nexus letter is a document, okay, that is linking, the purpose is to link a specific claim to service. And that term Nexus letter was really created by the VA, by the Veterans Affairs themselves. Okay. So,
Okay.
in essence, this is an expert medical opinion that a veterans have to acquired from a medical provider. Okay. And the purpose of this document is to link their conditions or the claim that they're putting, okay, to service. So let's say you serve in the United States Navy, you have back pain, and you put a claim for back pain with the Veterans Affairs, And lo and behold, it came back denied. And it came back denied for different reasons. But for you to get that claim service connected and get money for that claim, okay, you might need a Nexus letter because the claim was denied. And this Nexus letter is, number one, has to be written by a qualified medical provider. And the purpose of the letter is to explain to the VA why your back pain, okay, the claim that you put in, is really connected to your military service.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense now. So, I mean, you kind of went into it, right? How that's explains Nexus Letter. So it's a combining of the two from, your. So in this case, I mean, I know you're going to get into it later, but there are a lot of veterans that don't know that they can use the Nexus Letter if they're already having some type of disability claim, correct?
Well, the hardest part of my job, and that's why we connected, and that's why I was at this event in Walnut Creek in Walnut, California, I believe, where we met.
Correct.
The hardest part is that you have veterans who have no idea what a Nexus letter is, right? Let's say I walked in a room full of 10 veterans and I asked them by show of hands how many of them know what a Nexus letter is. Perhaps one or two know what it is. And that is a big roadblock when a veteran is trying to really get their claim service connected. If they don't know what it is, then they get stuck at a very low rating. Okay.
Sure.
So part of my job, in this company is to really educate veterans and really do more outreach so that they know the service and they know this instrument that can be very, very, very vital and important when they're fighting with the VA to get their claim service connected. Um, and can you explain what a Nexus letter is and how crucial it is for VA disability claims? So I explained already what it is,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And the purpose of it.
Yes.
And why is it crucial for VA disability claims? So number one, when a veteran puts a claim in, okay, um, more often than not, that claim can come back denied. And there are several reasons why it's denied. And the VA would explain in their rating decision letter why the claim was denied. For three reasons, most of the time, the claims get denied for three reasons. The first reason is what it's called lack of medical evidence. Okay,
Mm.
let's say again, Ben, you were in service, you serve in the Navy. You really didn't go to sick call a lot. You didn't complain. You wanted to serve. You go through the pain. You completed your work, and you have very little evidence in your service records that show you complain of back pain. Well, if you don't have that evidence and you put in a claim, VA tends to deny those claims. So,
Mm.
number one is lack of medical evidence. Number two is a lack of a diagnosis. Okay, so if you put in a claim, let's say for a generic condition, or you say my back hurts, well, that's not really a clinical diagnosis. So, lack of a diagnosis. And number three could be not enough medical evidence. So you have the lack of evidence, not enough medical evidence, lack of diagnosis, and one more I should add is, let's say if you have a pre-existing condition.
Mm.
Okay, this comes up a lot, and I just had a consultation this morning with a client who had asthma when they were a child, right? And
Mm.
they put in a claim for it because they served and they were exposed. They were in those areas where there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of particles, there's a lot of
Sure.
toxins in the air, right? And now they put in a claim for the asthma. And lo and behold, they get a letter from the VA stating, well, this is a pre-existing condition. You had it when you were a child. We're not paying for it. We don't believe it's due to service. And in that case, that veterans need a Nexus letter to explain, although this is a pre-existing condition, that condition was aggravated by where
Ah,
they were in service. You see, so to me, it's fun work. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. It is my purpose, and I get excited about doing that kind of stuff. But this is why a Nexus letter is crucial to help veterans get their claim service connected.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing about that. Okay. So how does a Nexus letter differ from other types of medical documentation used in a VA claim?
Okay. So it is different because, again, this is strictly an instrument or a letter that's going to explain how the claim, okay, or condition relates back to service or is linked to service. So a medical documentation could be just you went to your doctor and you say you have back pain. Nowhere in those notes does it really explain why that back pain is really linked to service, right? You just explaining what your symptoms are.
Okay.
Okay. A typical documentation could be x-ray results for the back pain that show you had degenerative arthritis of your spine, right? Well, these are objective results, okay? They are medical documentation, but they don't get into detail how this is linking back to the things that you've done in service or what you've incurred in service, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're literally like writing the details versus like coming from a doctor kind of thing, right?
Making the connection.
Making the connection.
We're linking the claim, okay, in addition to the details, but we're linking the claim to service.
So sorry, I'm slow.
That's
So
okay.
okay, so when you're linking the two, what are a couple things you're getting from the service to link it from?
Great
Is that
question.
is
Great
that what we're
question.
going to go into later?
I don't know if we have that, but I'm happy to go through it now.
Okay,
So again, we'll stick with the back condition because they're very common, right?
okay,
Okay, so you're putting a claim for back pain, okay, and it was denied, okay, because you did not go to sick call, you don't have enough evidence of any injuries to your back in service, right?
uh-huh,
Now, your medical documentation currently shows that your x-rays, you have arthritis, okay, and we can see that, right? The results are there,
sure,
okay? We can see you went to the doctor, your private doctor, okay, where the doctor says you complain of back pain and you prescribe medication for back pain. So these things, these records are here, okay? We look at these. Now, in a Nexus letter, as part of a Nexus consultant, okay, my job is to come in and say, okay, this is the veterans, this is the x-rays, this is the condition that he currently suffers from, which is back pain. It is chronic, okay, because he has arthritis from his x-rays. Now, this veterans was in the Navy and did this and this type of job.
got it.
This and this type of jobs, more likely than not, contribute to his back pain, regardless of whether or not he went to sick call. And we all know a lot of service members, they go through it, right? They're supposed to be tough. They don't have time to go to sick calls. And even if they did go to sick call, more than likely they'll give them Motrin and ibuprofen. And that
Mhm.
should take care of all the issues, right?
I see.
So that is how important in the Nexus letter is. That is the purpose of a
Hmm,
Nexus. Okay?
that's great. That's a great
It's fun
explanation.
work.
Yes, so good, so good. We did get a comment, but I'm going to leave that comment till the end so we can look into it. See,
Okay.
what are some common mistakes veterans make when obtaining or submitting a Nexus letter? I like this question. Yeah.
Okay. This is tough for us because as a company, so we brand ourselves as a medical consulting company. So we're not a VA claim consulting company. Very different. Okay. So
Yeah,
our job is strictly to write those Nexus letters for veterans. A VA claim company's job might be to file the claims
got it. Okay.
for the veterans, handling all the paperwork, going into the VA website, and all of that. So that is very different from who we are and what we do. However, typically what we see, it could be that the veterans themselves file the nexus under a different category. So, and when you go to file a claim, and I'm not a vet, so I don't really go and actually input information. This is by hearsay from other clinicians, from other veterans that have made mistakes in the past, and I've recognized what those mistakes are. So when you go to file a claim, there is a section for your medical records, okay, and medical treatment records, and there is a section for medical evidence. A nexus letter, when you file a claim, should actually be under the medical evidence because you're providing evidence, not treatment, because we didn't treat you for those conditions. We gave you a document, right, to explain from a clinical standpoint how your claim is relating to service. So in essence, that nexus letter is medical evidence. Therefore, it should be under the evidence category. Should the veteran put it under medical treatment, what can happen, and I've seen it happen, is they get a letter from the VA stating, well, we want Sunnyside Veterans Consulting to send us your treatment records. Well, we don't have treatment records. We're
Right.
not your treating clinicians. So
Mhm.
that's, I think, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest mistake when they file claims that could happen.
Okay.
And it's just delay. It's just, it doesn't mean, it doesn't hurt them. It's just delay the process a little bit.
Okay. So if it does happen and they just need to rectify basically, the whole language. It's just a language thing, correct?
Miscategorized. They
Okay.
probably put it in a wrong category and they have to go back and make some changes.
Okay. Anything else on the common mistakes part?
What are common mistakes veteran makes when obtaining or submitting an access letter? So as clinicians, we are very ethical. Um, and one of the hats that I do wear is to be able to streamline the influx of clients and leads that come to us. So I have to preface by saying that an access letter is based on evidence, right? We cannot fabricate documentation. We cannot fabricate records. And sometimes it's hard to explain to some veterans how this really worked. And for us to be able to do a job and provide an instrument, a Nexus letter that is going to benefit them, right? The veterans pay for these Nexus letters. It's not free, okay? So for me, from my perspective, right, when we do create or give or write a Nexus letter for the veteran, it is with the intent that this instrument is going to yield a favorable outcome. We don't want to just create Nexus letters just to create Nexus letters and to make money. That's
Sure.
not the purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
The purpose is to, from an ethical standpoint, also, is to create a document that is going to benefit the veteran and gets their claim service connected. That's the premise of it. And in order to do that, we have to have the evidence, we have to have the records, we have to have the clinical rationale. We also do a lot of research, right? So this is why there's really a cost involved with that. When we do make a clinical rationale on a case, we need to be able to back it up with scientific data and scientific literature, which takes time to research. And so there's a lot of behind the scenes work that we do, and I happen to love that kind of work, and it gives me joy. But yeah, there's some work involved in creating a very well drafted, a very concise and competent Nexus letters. Not all Nexus letters are created equal. Unfortunately, we've had clients that come to us when they've had someone else do a Nexus letter for them, and
Uh,
then the claim gets denied.
uh,
And unfortunately, now they have to pay a different provider to create. So, you know,
so
so
it's
not
like,
all Nexus letters are created equal. I have to say that.
gotcha. So they can actually make claim more than once, like
Yeah.
so it's like someone had a like I'm just trying to relate, like if someone has an issue with the law and they try to fight to win this case and they got one lawyer but they lost, and so they find another lawyer to fight for them. It's kind of like in this case, right? If they lost the claim with one provider, they're going to go to you to try to make it better and try to win again, correct?
Yeah, we've had clients that come to us who had their cases denied after they've had a Nexus letter from a different provider.
Hmm.
and they come to us, and it's up to us to agree to create a different Nexus letter for them so the claim can get service connected. So, and unfortunately, we do see that a lot, and it's an added cost because they pay that provider a fee for that Nexus letter. So, not all of them are created equal. You, as consumers, you do have to do your due diligence and your research and make sure that whoever you choose to work with does have some knowledge of VA terminology and be able to provide you with a document that can benefit you. We
Awesome.
do at Sunnyside, we do have a 94%, so greater than 90% success rate. And
Right.
we're very, very proud of that. And we're very diligent at, screening and making sure that the veterans have everything that they need and that we need to create a pretty good Nexus letter for them.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's go to the next question. Who is qualified to write a Nexus letter? And does it make a difference if the letter comes from a specialist?
Oh, I hate that question, dude. I hate that question. I'm gonna answer it the way that I know how to answer it, and that's following VA regulations.
Okay.
Um, and according to the VA regulations, a Nexus letter can be written by a qualified medical provider. That's all it says.
Okay.
Qualified medical providers. It doesn't say specialist. It doesn't say specific credential. It doesn't say practicing clinician. Okay. So you could have provider who retired 50 years ago. I don't know if you would want them to write an Nexus letter for you, but the regulation says qualified medical provider. That's
Mm,
all.
okay. Okay. All right. So how can a well-crafted Nexus letter impact the overall VA disability rating and compensation?
Huge. That can be I mean, if you file a claim and the claim was denied previously, or multiple times, in most cases, what you were lacking is a Nexus letter. And if you have a well-crafted Nexus letter, you should be able to get that claim, number one, service connected. Number two, which is the beauty of it, if the claim was denied, for denied previously, you should be able to also gain back pay. Okay, which means that once that claim is service connected, if you filed a claim 5 years ago or 3 years ago, you should be able to collect back pay from the date that you actually filed the claim. And this is where I can personally tell you, I can personally tell you that clients have called us and tell us about that. So one of the best success story that I have this year alone, well, two, but I'll go into one. It's a 29-year-old U.S. Marine veteran who filed a claim for a mental health claim. And that claim came back denied because he had issues when he was a teenager. But, he was still able to serve his country and went to Iraq and risked his life. These are the kind of things that you hear from veteran and you wonder, it shouldn't be that way, right? I mean, you would expect someone who risked his life and went overseas to fight for our freedom, file a claim for mental health, that it would automatically get
Sure.
granted. Well, in this case, it didn't because he had, according to the VA, he had a pre-existing mental health condition. But he came to us and we said, no, I mean, we're going to do everything. We're going to go to war for you. You fought. That's the way I really see it. You fought for us. I'm here to fight for you.
Yeah.
Right. So we took on the case. He got his claim service connected. Number one,
Yay.
he's
Awesome.
at 100% permanent and total.
Nice.
And the beauty of it, he's got 80 grand in back pay. Now, for a
Wow.
29-year-old guy who's, it's just like, wow. So that was a pretty amazing thing. And I'm very happy for him and his family. And he just had a baby. So couldn't be
Yay.
more happy for him. Yeah.
So can you, on this note, this we didn't put it in the question list, but how can Nexus Letter people, not Nexus Letter, how can veterans from winning cases with you guys associate with themselves with real estate?
Well, and that specific gentleman is young and
Yeah,
he's a vet, and I'm pretty sure he will be buying a home and using some that huge check, that 80 grand, to
yeah,
help him. They don't have to pay a down payment, but still, that's capital, that's income, number one. Once they get 100%, that tax-free income that they do get, in my opinion, helps significantly to get them qualified for a home, particularly in San Diego when the
yeah,
housing market is so expensive, right? If you can get $4,000 a month, right, tax free, that goes a long way to increase your buying power, right? So part of what I do, when I do get clients, is also educate them, and I ask them sometimes, hey, do you own a home? And if they're young and they said no, well, perhaps when you do get to 100%, is that part of your strategy? Are you looking to buy, etc.? Because ideally, what I want, if I could, in an ideal world, is to really set these vets up for success. To
yeah,
me, we wouldn't be here without their sacrifices. These are people that give
yeah.
up, their freedom really to serve and join the military to serve for us and to die for us. And they deserve everything that they can get. And I'm here to help them as much as I can, right?
Love it. Yeah, because we're not I mean, a lot of these vets are young, like you're saying, 26, 27, 30, coming out of the military, and they don't know a lot what they can do with the money, and so
Mhm.
a lot of them waste it away with rental, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Or they buy a Dodge, like
Yeah,
a Challenger,
yeah,
cash
yeah,
with
and so
that money, or they spend 30 grand and buy a wedding ring or some things like that. Well,
yeah,
that's where education comes into play, right? I think that's paramount for that population, is to educate them on financial literacy, and really setting themselves, because they have a beautiful product. The VA loan itself, it's an amazing product that they can use to be able to buy a home,
zero
for the country that they served in. And I think that most of them should be able to do that. They should absolutely be able to do that.
Awesome. So I'm going to skip the next question, but because of time, but let's get into this one. What advice would you give to veterans seeking to find a qualified provider to draft a Nexus letter? I want to say, of course, everyone should go to, especially if their VA healthcare provider won't write one.
Um, my advice would be to research the company. Again, that falls upon your due diligence. Um, so research the company. Make sure that you are comfortable with the company and their background. Ask them, what is your success rate? Who are your clinician or providers that write those Nexus letters? These are important questions to ask. In addition to that, ask them, well, what happens, if my claim, for some reason, my claim gets denied? Would you be able to, can I come back to you, number one, and let you know the outcome of this Nexus letters? I can tell you, Ben, personally, these people that comes to me, they went back to previous providers and they absolutely did not want to help them because, in their opinion, their job was done. And we are not like that per se. Although we're not the VA, we cannot guarantee you an outcome. We absolutely cannot. Okay, we're a consulting service. We go above and beyond to make sure that we do the best we can for you and really compile a Nexus letter that is going to be of extreme value to you and really help you get your claim service connected. But by no means can we guarantee that a specific outcome or percentage, or the claim will get service connected. But what we will do is to tell our clients to come back to us. We want to know the outcome, right? We want to know if the claim was service connected. And if for some reason it did not get service connected, we want to know why. And I can tell you, the 10% or 6% that comes back to us, we spend the time reading the denial, and more often than not, the Nexus letter was nowhere to be seen as
Mm.
their evidence. So that is a huge problem. Number one, they get that instrument, they pay for it, they file the claim, and it's nowhere under their evidence
Huh.
brackets, right? So when we see that, we explain to them, well, of course it was denied. I don't see any evidence in here in this denial that they even considered your Nexus letter. So we are the type of company that allow our clients to come back to us. And then if we can troubleshoot something and help them, then yes, we'll be more than happy to do that.
Got it. And then, so let's say, let's end here, but let's say they hired you guys got them 100% claim, like that last example. How long does it normally take once that they got, approved and everything, till it like kicks in for them?
You mean how long does the process take from the time they file a claim to actually hearing back for a decision?
Or
Oh, that can take, I've seen it takes weeks, I've seen it takes years. So it all depends. It is a long process. But I would say on average, maybe a year. We've had people that they put in their things and they get a CNP exam, and within a couple weeks, 2 months, they call us and say, hey, everything's good. I got my rating, but it all depends, right?
Hmm.
And for the back pay, I don't know how long it takes for the VA to actually give them the retro pay in their bank account. But everything is ACH is deposited into
Oh,
their bank account. And I want to end this by saying that the service we provide, it is free for service. So
awesome.
when we quote someone a fee, it's typically a total fee compared to a VA claim agency or VA claim filing agency. Typically they work by contingency fees.
Hmm.
So they take a percentage of what the veterans makes. For example, for that client who had 80 grand, that 80 grand was his 80 grand. He paid us a fee. We did our job. He paid a fee for the Nexus letter. We did not go after him for any sorts
Good point.
you know what I mean? So it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to explain to clients why they have to pay a fee, because some of them think that we work in a contingency fee structure. We do not. We are strictly fee for service, and they pay a fee for the Nexus letter.
Gotcha. Great
Mhm.
point. Well, and what's the best way for everyone to get in touch with you? And for those, I have audience that on my channel as well that are real estate agent that are wanting to properly educate. Maybe you have a friend or family and that's a veteran. What is the best way to get a hold of you?
I thank you, Ben, for this question. I think the website is a great starting point. Sunnyside Vets with an S, sunnysidevets.com. There's a schedule tab, there's a contact form, and they fill it out. We'll get back to them ASAP within 24 to 48 hours. You listed my phone number, the office phone number here, which is 858-547-9101. They can contact me there. On the website, there's email address. They can email me. So there's plenty of ways. They can also follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. Realtors, most real estate agents are on LinkedIn. So they can contact me there. But I'm more than happy. The purpose of being with you here today is really to be a resource. If I can be a resource to people, that's really what my heart is to serve. And if I can provide education, I'm happy to do that, regardless of the outcome and the transaction or if they become clients or not.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for joining us to understand Nexus Letters, and to my guest, Lou, here. What a knowledge of information she shared with us, and what a tremendous job she did as well. So not everyone jumps on live and like have it together, and you definitely have it together. So thank you so much. And
I'm happy to come back anytime.
yeah, if you guys want her to come back, drop it in the comments, or uh, put a 1 in the comments or whatever. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So
It's been a pleasure, Ben. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate that.
yes, we'll definitely connect again. Grab some Mexican food because San Diego is known for Mexican food.
Yes, yes, yes. It
Awesome.
will be on me. So hit me up when you're in San Diego.
Thank you, thank you. All right, well, for till next time, we'll chat soon. Everyone have a blessed day. Take care.